All right, everybody, it's the comprehensive review of the 2025 Yamaha MT07. You guys know the deal. This is the last day of our sweepstakes, and I wrap up the giveaway doing a comprehensive review on the motorcycle after logging extensive testing, mileage, and track day testing on this machine. So as I mentioned, it's the last day of the sweepstakes. Head over to GamingNoob.co, become a member, and get locked in for your best chance to win this motorcycle. Today is the very last day you have to get entered to win, so don't miss your chance. You can pick up a hat, a t-shirt, a hoodie, anything you want. Every dollar you spend will be an entry to win, subject to a multiplier, which on the last day today is 100x entries. But really, becoming a member is the best way to support the show because you stack up your entries, and we're doing a new bike every single month this riding season. In April, we're launching our next giveaway bike, so if you become a member, you'll be able to assign your entries to earn that bike as well. The next bike is going to be a competitor to this motorcycle we talked about in the comprehensive review, and I really want to do it justice. It's a Honda, it's mostly new, and it has one piece of technology that I'm really excited to talk about. But anyways, let's dive into this MT07 and wrap up my final thoughts on this giveaway. So this bike largely improved for 2025. I really enjoyed my time with this motorcycle. I logged just around 320 miles on this machine. I did a lot of hill country twisty road riding. I did a little bit of commuting with it. I rode it here and back to the shop from where I live. I also took it on track and tested it several times out there too. And I'm honestly really impressed. It's a really well-rounded machine, and it still retains a lot of its character as a fun, hooligan, charming, interesting bike to ride. We did a whole MT07 versus all the competitors video, so I won't spend too much time talking about the competition to this machine, but I really think Yamaha has cemented its status amongst the other bikes in the category by differentiating itself in terms of its weight. The MT07 is by far the lightest motorcycle in this category of sub $10,000 650-ish cc naked bikes. With a wet weight of just 403 pounds, that means this motorcycle stops better, handles better, turns better, and just does everything better than a lot of the bikes in the category. Combine that with the fact that Yamaha addressed a lot of the issues that the old MT07 had, and this really does make a very solid case for itself. Now, I said I wasn't going to talk about competitors, but there is one I really do need to talk about because we weren't able to mention it in our competitors video because the news literally came out after I put that video into pre-production. That is, of course, the Honda Hornet 750. Now, that bike is cheaper than the MT07 by several $100s. It makes more peak horsepower. It's a new platform. It's a bigger engine, and it has Honda build quality and reliability. And to be honest, I thought that this bike was the king of the castle in the category. I was like, yeah, it's fun, it's peppy, it's characterful, it's lightweight, but man, that Honda looks good. Suffice it to say, now that the Hornet's been officially launched in North America and will be coming to our market, I have to get that motorcycle to test it against the MT07, the Trident 660, and the other motorcycles in the category. But I really do have to commend Yamaha for making improvements on the MT07. I think it's the best the MT07's ever looked. I think it's the most complete and grown up the MT07's ever been, and I really enjoyed my time with it. Now, if I were to own this motorcycle for the long term, what are some things I would do to it? We're doing something a bit different this year for the giveaway bikes, whereas I'm actually not modifying them at all. And the reason for that is because I want to give the winners a brand spanking new bike as close to OEM as possible so that they can modify it to their heart's content and they get the motorcycle the way the factory set it up. Because modifications are really to the rider's personal taste. That's why we make modifications. So after riding this motorcycle on street for several hours at a time, I would make a couple ergonomic tweaks for my own body shape. I would actually put the rear sets in a slightly different position. I found I was getting slight knee pain after riding this motorcycle for over 4 or 5 hours. That could be due to a lot of factors. It could be the overall rider triangle just doesn't sit very well with my knees, or it could just be the fact that I'm now an old dad and I ride an adventure bike more often than not, and I like more roomy cockpits. On top of that, I mentioned this in my early review, but the handlebars really are just a little too close to my chest. I'd like something a little bit wider, a little bit flatter. I think these handlebars are just scooped a little bit too far back for my personal taste. And of course, the other thing I would do is get a radial pull master cylinder, probably an RCS 19 or 17 from Brembo. I'd put direct lines down to the calipers and just love life with my beautiful braking feel on this motorcycle. Another small thing that I would recommend you do is change the motorcycle's dash to the nighttime setting always. I really don't like the light theme on this motorcycle. I think the white background looks a little bit cheap, but if you actually do the dark color background on this TFT, I find it looks a lot better. Another small nitpicky thing I noticed about this machine is after riding it around in a bit of a fun way, maybe setting down wheelies a teensy bit harder than I would like, the blade indicators tend to pop out of their sockets pretty easily. I've had to put these back into place about twice now, and that's been an issue on the MT bikes for a while. Every MT bike that I've owned for a giveaway, that tends to happen for some reason, where the blade indicators pop out if you just set the wheel down a little bit hard. I don't know what it is about the MT07 specifically. Maybe it's the fact that it's lightweight. Maybe it's the fact that it shares such a willing CP2 engine that is cross-platform with the Tenere 700. But there were several times I found myself off-road with the MT07, not doing anything crazy, not doing any big trails, but it's a weirdly fun motorcycle when you take it off-road. I have said for years that Yamaha should make a scrambler version of an MT07, and I actually think that would be really cool. I mean, imagine this thing with maybe a 19-inch front wheel, maybe some knobby tires, slightly taller suspension. Not do anything too crazy with it, but I really think you could have a fun scrambler with this package pretty much as is because of how peppy the motor is and how lightweight it is. I would probably also put a small windshield on this motorcycle. I have one on my desert sled. I've just found that the wind buffeting, especially at highway speeds, was a bit much for my personal liking. That might be due to the ergonomics. It might be that you're a little too high up. Maybe if you're a little further down like you are on a street triple, maybe it would work a little bit better, but a nice little fly screen would do well. It would also keep some bugs out of these little crevices and near the TFT over here. I think that would do a little bit better. I'm really torn about the exhaust sound. I think that this motor makes a great noise. I've always really enjoyed the CP2 sound. In this new Euro 5 Plus compliant emissions package, it is very quiet. You do hear the intake sound, but it actually is pretty darn quiet. And when I was riding it with earplugs in, there were times I was cruising, I literally couldn't hear the motorcycle at all. I would maybe do a full system with a very extreme baffle in it, so you just get a little bit more sound out of it. Maybe you have to flash it at that point because you've removed the catalytic converter. There's a couple of options. There was actually a guy in our Discord server that said that you could hack it off at the certain seam at the end. I really don't recommend hacking off your exhaust like some kind of crackhead. If you're going to modify your exhaust system, make sure you can bolt the parts off and back on. Do not cut your OEM system. That's not a good idea, so I would not recommend that. In years past, some people would even drill holes into the exhaust to hear it more. That is like super crackhead stuff. Do not drill holes into your OEM exhaust so that you can hear it more. That's just not a good idea. The motorcycle is designed to run with the exhaust system intact. If you just drill holes into it, it's not gonna work correctly. The AFRs are gonna be all off and it's not gonna work. Cruise control is sorely missed on this model. I really don't know why Yamaha didn't include it. It has the cancellation feature. It has ride-by-wire. The automatic version comes with cruise control. The module seems like it would be perfectly fit for it. I just don't understand why this model doesn't come with cruise control. I also don't understand why it doesn't come with an optional bidirectional quick shifter. That would be a great feature to put on this motorcycle. I really think this bike with the up and down quick shifter and cruise control would be just awesome. I mean, imagine up and down quick shifter, cruise control, a little fly screen. You can put a tail bag on it, tank bag. I mean, you can do anything with the bike at that point. Hell, maybe you could even do that scrambler version with some of those features and then you just have a Yamaha desert sled, I guess. I guess I'm just trying to make my desert sled. I'm sorry, guys. But really, this is a great bike, and it's a great bike for sort of beginner plus riders, returning riders, intermediate riders. What I've always loved about the MT07 is that it works for so many different kinds of riders. That's a really cool thing about this bike. You know, you think about the more hopped up naked category, the street triples of the world, the MT09s, the hyper naked category, the MT10s and all that. You know, they're very hair on fire when you think about it. This bike, it's just plain fun, man. You can clutch up wheelies in 3rd gear, you can cruise around with it. It feels low stakes. It doesn't feel super expensive to where you're gonna worry too much about what happens to it. I just think it's a really lovable, approachable bike that can work for a lot of different kind of people. It's a tried and true platform. The components on it are pretty simple. If you want to modify it, if you want to maintain it, own it, it really just does the job. I think it's a great motorcycle, and I would easily rate it a 9 out of 10. There is certainly some stiff competition, as I mentioned in my video, doing all the different bikes. I mean, Trident 660 is so close to this thing. The new Hornet 750 certainly seems like a better buy on paper. I have to ride that motorcycle still and see if it has a nice character and charm to it like this motorcycle does, because the MT07's always had that just effervescent, peppy, hooligan quality about it that no other bike in the category really has. If you ride this back to back with the Z650, back to back with the Trident 660, you always walk away wanting to jump on this more than whatever bike you just rode. Trust me. So I'm gonna get this bike hosed off, cleaned up, get it ready to select the winner on April 9th. We're launching our new motorcycle sweepstakes on April 7th as well. Be sure you're tuned in for that. Doing a new bike every single month this year. You're not gonna wanna miss it. I'm really excited. I feel so jazzed up. We're getting some of the latest and greatest bikes. Guys, I have deposits and pre-orders on pretty much all of the latest and greatest new bikes this year. There's some delays happening with them right now, so I can't promise which bike's gonna come out when, but we have a lot of cool stuff coming for you guys this year. Stay tuned here on Yamanoob. Subscribe if you haven't. Join on the website. Thank you so much for watching today's comprehensive review, final review on the MT07, and make sure you don't miss it. Thanks so much for watching. See you guys later. I'm like a bird, I wanna fly away. I don't know where my soul is. I don't know where my home is. Da 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 da. I'm like a bird, I wanna fly away. I don't know where my soul is. Oh, hey. You're still here. Man, this is awkward. You should, you should keep watching Yamanoob.